Welcome to another great episode of American Rifleman Television. Now, during Operation Market Garden, the 1st Airborne Division to be relieved by the British would be the 101st Airborne, and in that division it included our friend, the late Don Burgett. This week in our Rifleman Review, we're going to go to the range with a 6-gun, and that's the Colt King Cobra. For Eye of This Old Gun, we'll look at one of the early Japanese air-cooled machine guns, and that's the Type 3. But right now, let's look at the 101st Airborne and the fight during Operation Market Garden.
This was in Holland, and the Germans brought a lot of tanks against us, and they had a lot of them. And so we received a radio word to retire from upposting, as they pronounce it. And I had a machine gun post there in the upper story of a house. The regiment left 4 of us there, plus a Lieutenant Borelli, with 2 machine guns, and each one of us had about 4 boxes of ammo. And what we were supposed to do is stay until daylight to give the regiment time to get back and dig in. So it just about got daylight, and Lieutenant Borelli said, well, it's time to retire. And the Germans did not make an attack or anything during that time. So we caught up with the outfit, and it was just breaking daylight. So we walked past this apple orchard, and we saw people, they had tents and things bivouacked in there, and we thought it was the British. And so we cut down a little road, a side road that teed into the one we were on. That's where our outfit was. So as it got lighter and lighter, we looked over and somebody says, those aren't British, those are Krauts. And so he opened fire. He's the guy that opened fire with a machine gun. In the meantime, I had given my machine gun back to Bilski, who was my machine gunner. And so then the shooting started, back and forth. And when I gave the machine gun back to Bilski, the man who was carrying my rifle for me, he was shot. He was dead, and I didn't know it until I got there, and there was nobody there, and I didn't have a rifle.
Anyone who's a fan of the wheel gun knows that Colt is synonymous with the word revolver. This is the Colt King Cobra. This is the latest version of a gun that had been released in the mid-'80s, was available for a few years, was taken off the market, was re-released, and then was taken off the market again. So it's been about a decade and a half since Colt offered a King Cobra. This is essentially what is referred to as a V-frame, 357 Magnum, 6-shot revolver.
The Japanese made absolutely outstanding and effective automatic weapons in the years that precede World War II and during World War II. The one we're probably the most familiar with is the well-known Woodpecker, the Type 92 heavy machine gun in 7.7 by 58 millimeter.